Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. I have all the charts here for the astrological transits for this week. We're going to be going from I'll be going from the week of November 5th to the 11th. And we have a lot of good things. Mars is moving into Libra, Mercury is moving into Sag. Yeah, a bunch of good aspects in between. I have notes here. Except for Saturday, we have Mars opposing Uranus, which it could be really good for some things, but then other times it's just really unpredictable energy. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But anyway, we can set our good intentions ahead of time and get a good way to use the energy according to the way you want it in your life. It's always about using the energy. So anyway, let me stop blabbing here and bring you over the table and show you these charts. Be right back. Okay, so our backdrop for the week is not as intense as it was last week, but we do still have the intensity of the Scorpio stellium here going on. With Pluto squaring the nodes, including Eris, I think that women are still up in arms more strongly than ever, and that's not going to let off for quite some time, years, as we resolve our our inherent, innate right to govern our own bodies, to make our own healthcare choices, reproductive rights, all of that. So I've harped on that for so many months. I'm just going to let that go today. But just to notice that the attention field is still there with that T-square going on to Pluto and the axis of the nodes. And the only other thing I'll say about it is with the nodal axis being in Aries and Libra, of course, the issue there is always getting inside of your own instinctual, just knowing how much you matter. Knowing that you can trust your instincts if you're working from the laws of love, if you're working under loving spiritual principles, or let's just say loving principles. But a lot of people confuse what love is. So there's there are lessons there. And then with the South Node in Libra, it's all about relationships, it's all about fairness, it's all about equality, it's all about partnerships, and needing to let go of people-pleasing. Aries has to let go of needing to be first and going into emotional reaction when it comes to abandonment issues, and Aries also needs to let go of impulsiveness. And but once you do that, usually, as long as there's not a lot of other things going on, usually things work out because you're coming from that deep place of knowing how much you matter in the world. Whether it doesn't matter what you do for a living, doesn't matter. All of that matters is that you're honoring who you are and in your uniqueness, and you're able to assert yourself in loving ways. And then with the balance, that's why the polarities always matter. The balance of Libra comes from that place of being fair and slowing down, although Libra is, it's cardinal energy as well. So that there's a lot of movement-oriented energy with that Aries-Libra polarity. So we're working our way through relationship issues, and we're working our way through fairness and equality and needing to be treated equally, right? It's painful for Libras to encounter injustice, and so, that's on the table politically and personally. Now, another place we can get into trouble with Libra or Taurus, because they're both ruled by Venus, is if we're too focused on appearance values, basically, how we appear to others. And again, but go back to, the strength of Aries. And we all have that, we all have Aries somewhere in our charts, and we all have Mars somewhere in our charts. And there's that instinctual, movement-oriented energy that pushes you forward in life, keeps you moving in life, so that you don't just crawl up in a ball and stay under the covers forever, right? You can do that for a day, though, if you want, or a week, or a month, or whatever you need if you're healing. But yeah, so okay. The other things that are, so I'll work my way back from the other planets, the transpersonal planets. So let's go to Neptune, which is next. Well, actually, Eris is the slowest moving dwarf planet, just as Pluto's a dwarf planet. So I've covered that. With Pluto and Capricorn, it's always about trusting your natural instincts, your natural whatever is wanting to come through. Who you are is your natural self. And there's some spiritual laws around Pluto, or actually Capricorn energy. Pluto's always about transformation and power, self-empowerment, not having power over others, as many of these politicians want to. They want to just control every aspect of our lives, which is just insane. So yeah, when it comes to Capricorn, though, it's one of those signs where when you get down into the basic essence, it reminds me of a spiritual law that has to do with, well, being human, right? But also how we have to work things out in our life as we age, as we get older and we get a little bit wiser. Then we realize that we've been growing up with this like automatic reaction to look at the effects in our lives rather than the causes of what we've been experiencing. And when we don't do that, when we don't understand that it's the cause that creates whatever the deeper cause is of the situation. If we don't look for the cause and instead we just focus on the symptom, then we're not going to find peacefulness. And with the Libra South Node in peaceful oriented Libra, that sign is just all about peacefulness. And being objective, rising above things and getting out of our way. So when we come from that place where we know that in the core of our being, and actually in every cell of our body, and these are universal quantum fields of cosmic intelligence that I'm speaking to. But when we know that in every cell of our body and in the core of our being, we are alive, or we're like teeming with cosmic intelligence, and that we already have, within everything that we'll ever need in order to create what we need, and most of everything that we want. Nothing's perfect here on this dualistic planet. But if you get inside of that place and know that you're already all that you could ever want to be. But the problem is that we've been coming from this limited perspective that keeps us from accessing all of our wisdom, all of our power, and especially our love. And in each lifetime we incarnate, a fragment of who we truly are, and it's our life task, it's our life purpose to heal those limitations and bring through our spiritual essence as much as possible. And that's what I see with this Pluto at this, moving towards the anaretic degree. It won't be too long before it'll be at 29 degrees. It'll be, oh goodness, I think the end of the year, December this year. And yeah, it's going to go back and forth a little bit until we get to the Pluto in Aquarius in November 19th. I've got that date burned into my brain, November 19th, but it's next year. So, we're a year away from that. So this next entire year is really important for getting that. That's why I keep having to repeating this, is that we're not coming from, as humans, if we could flip it around and realize that we're not meant to come from this thing that we're supposed to become. We already are. We already have everything within us. Our task is to remove the veil. Our task is to clear away the crusty soul substance that's been locked up in limitation and fear and, oh, I don't dare do that. Who am I to do this? Or what, it's like these are all our parental, imprints that we can blow through. We can let it go. And that's the beauty of Pluto transits. That's the power of the Pluto transits. It supports our evolving souls. And yeah, so if you just think of Pluto as eliminating what is in the way of you becoming who you already truly are, or you experiencing who you already truly are. It's not about, I guess the best way to say it is if we can think of this process, because it's hard to put this stuff in words, but if you can think of this process as releasing what is already there, already innate, inherent within you, then it becomes so much easier to just be real and be your real authentic self, which is, again, Capricorn. That's the power of Pluto at this anaretic, moving towards the anaretic last degree. So, yeah. Okay, now I feel okay about going to Neptune. Neptune is our transpersonal planet of source energy, but it can also be delusion. And with the trine, you can see this trine up here, 22 degrees to Mercury, to Neptune to Mercury. I think, and both water signs, right? I think that we can use this energy this week in such a beautiful way. Well, actually, Mercury will move into Sag. I forget what day. I think it's Friday. It might be Thursday night. It might be Thursday night. We have two things happening. Venus will move into Libra, and Mercury moves into Sag. So, but I have those charts. We'll get to that. But focusing in on Neptune in Pisces, trining Mercury in Scorpio. Well, Neptune in Pisces is coming from the big picture. It's mystical, it's intuitive, it's all about using our imagination. It's also all about compassion and being really sensitive. So a lot of us are more sensitive than ever. Wherever this is transiting in your chart, it's sensitizing you. It's subtle, it's very slow moving. It dissolves. Neptune has the power to dissolve the false beliefs. And it helps us to get in touch with our source energy, our guides, our guardian angels, any spiritual entity or anyone who's crossed over that you want to connect with. That's all in the Neptunian territory. So yeah. Now, it won't be long before Neptune goes direct. That'll happen December 6th, but it's just such a slow-moving planet that it's not going to feel that it's really moved much at all, even when it goes direct. And same thing with Saturn, even though it's direct, it just stationed direct yesterday, right? So there's that. Or yesterday from this date. It's actually... I think it'll actually be tomorrow, the next day from the day I'm doing this video. But that's neither here nor there. That I probably shouldn't even have said that. So anyway, November 4th, Saturn stations direct. By the 5th on Sunday, we're not feeling it yet. And it's still in that trine to the south node that it's been in for quite some time. So we still have that nice flow of information and wanting equality, wanting justice, wanting spiritually, sourced based spiritual types of relationships. A lot of people are not, well, on one level, I feel like if you're breathing, you're spiritual. I don't tend to have judgments around what's spiritual and what's not. But I do tend to get into my judgy, self when I hear people say, silly things like putting down woke, all of that stuff. Well, you know what? We're all waking up on the deepest levels of our body, and that's what Uranus is all about in Taurus. With Taurus, it's about the body, it's about self-preservation, it's about the things that matter to you most, it's about your safety, your security, and if you don't have that, you don't have anything, because your life will just be hell to go through if you're not feeling safe, or if you are not safe and stable. If you're not creating stability in your life, you're creating crisis. And with Uranus retrograde, we've been on this little sojourn. It's still only going to go back to 19 degrees, but thank goodness we've had Jupiter there as well. These two planets will come together in April of next year, and that will be very, very beautiful. But for now, what I want to focus on is Uranus pretty much exactly opposing Mercury. We had that, this last week too. And Mars is moving that way. The Sun will get there soon. And within days. That'll be into next week, though, because the Sun just moves 1 degree a day. But Mercury and Mars, so all of this intense energy, this hasn't been, easy for wars, Ukraine and Israel. It's just, I can't even give a voice to it. It's just so painful. So when Uranus is in Taurus, we're moving through, the pains of knowing, because we've all had lifetimes where we weren't safe. We've all had experiences in this lifetime where we didn't feel safe. So these things are coming up. Uranus relates to soul shocks. And in Taurus, it's all about literal safety. The soul shocks around not having safety and principles that you can faithfully, adhere to, or know that if I do this, I'll be safe. If I do this, I can preserve myself, So it's, one level, I think most of all, we just have to know, or at least this is my belief, is that no matter what, we never die. So, but who wants to die in a violent way, or who wants to die in a painful way is the thing, right? So on one level, we're waking up to that stability and safety and security that we need. The Taurus-Scorpio axis has everything to do with reproductive rights, everything to do with, now I'm going to speak to the stellium in Scorpio a little bit, that's over here. Uranus is over here saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, right? And then we've got the sun shining, getting ready to shine some light on that. Mercury and Mars, we're talking about it, and we're moving towards all of these ways of trying to get out of crisis or not be in crisis. Scorpio is really, really beautiful for transformation. It's its ancient ruler was Mars, but now it's Pluto. So either way you look at it, it's transformation. It's about bringing more harmony in your life through not being afraid of confrontation, not being afraid of loving confrontation. Doesn't mean it's okay to go kill somebody, but if somebody's coming after you and it's self-preservation, those are Taurus, Scorpio paradigms there, right? Self-preservation is Taurus. Scorpio is fighting to hold on to self-preservation, to hold on to safety. So inherent here is everything to do with the wars that are going on. And with Mercury and Mars especially opposing Uranus, there can be some new, Mercury's a messenger, right? So there can be some new pieces of information that create a way to invent. With Uranus, we're in the realm of invention and innovation and rebellion too, right? Because Uranus rules Aquarius. But so there's that possibility that there can be some new revolution. Revolution is what I just heard. When it comes to taking good care of ourselves, to stay out of crisis, to dig our heels in would be Scorpio energy, to decide that we're going to trust ourselves and that we're going to not be so afraid anymore, and that the worst thing in the world would be to betray ourselves. You know, with Scorpio and the Taurus polarity there, a lot of times, especially with Scorpio, there's the fear of being betrayed by others. Well, the worst thing in the world is when you betray yourself, when you betray the best in yourself by not speaking up, by not taking care of yourself, by not risking a deeper conversation with those that you love. Or sometimes it's about setting a strong, healthy boundary and saying, no, we're not talking about this anymore, because every time we do, we get into an argument. You know, so you can see political things, you know, that problems in those regards, or that regard. So with Scorpio, this stellium in Scorpio, things are really heating up. Mercury's in that third decan of that last 10 degrees of the sign. So we have been through this before, and we are mastering some major life lesson. And then Mars, moving through the second decan, we're integrating those life lessons on those deep instinctual. You know, Mars is like deep in the body, grounded to the earth, movement oriented, but moving towards survival, moving towards deep survival. So, you know, in the depth of who you truly are, right? And going deeper. With Scorpio, it's always about going deeper. Now, the only way we can mess this up, really, is to be so consumed with ourselves that we don't pick up, and that's especially with the South Node in Libra, don't pick up these opportunities to work things out with others or to work with others. You know, if you're hell-bent on doing everything, and I'm speaking now to the, North Node in Aries, if you're hell-bent on doing everything yourself and you won't ask for help or you won't allow someone to help you, if you've got resistance, you know, coming through in that respect, then you might have some hard lessons to go through. Or you're just going to make life harder for yourself than it has to be, right? That's the main thing there. And then you can also see we have 3 inconjuncts, quincunxes, coming up from, so not only from, we've got one from Chiron to Mars, and then Eris and the North Node up to Mercury. So again, this is really intense, and there are adjustments that need to be made. It's not as intense as last week, but and the only reason it's not as intense as last week is just because we're better at handling the energy now. We've learned something about using the energy rather than letting it throw us around, you know. But then again, still things happen. Life is just, you know, it's not on this dualistic planet, it's never going to be perfect. We're always going to be bumping up against something that is a little frustrating. But we learn to ground, we learn to breathe, we learn to just let go and realize, oh, you know what, it's just a bad morning, or it started out as a bad morning. Turns out really it was just a bad hour. And then maybe you can turn it right around where it's like, no, it's just about 5 minutes and I can handle this, I can fix this, I can get this, the way I want it. No matter what it is, and even if it takes more than a day or an hour or a day, whatever time it takes, it's worthwhile work. Because again, go back to no longer betraying yourself. Don't let yourself be beat up by life without standing up, right? Doesn't mean you have to kill somebody, doesn't mean you have to beat anybody up, doesn't even mean that you have to use harsh words. It just means that you teach them who you are, because you know who you are. And then from there, everything will work out. Except, again, it'll still be probably all of our lives, especially if you're a woman, it will probably be a lifelong task to always be teaching people who you are and how to respect you, right? Or we could say that's the case if you're a person of color. So it's sad, but that's, we brought a part of ourselves here onto this earthly plane to heal that aspect of ourselves, and then here we are, and I'm speaking a lot to Pluto and Capricorn too, and then here we are, and as we stand up for who we are, as we stop betraying the best in ourselves, as we give the best that we have to life, and no one's going to be perfect with that. You don't have to hurt yourself. You don't have to overwork. You do not have to do a lot of things that your mind tells you that you have to. All you really have to do is give the best you can in balance, without hurting yourself, without overwhelming, and it's one step at a time, it's one day at a time. And as you continue to do that, then the huge spirit that you are continues to come through your body with every breath that you take. You are literally spiritualizing matter with every breath that you take. And there's a lot to say about that or I think I may have just summed up what the Aries-Libra polarity is, because, again, life is Aries. Air is Libra sign. So fire and air, that's why these, they work together so well. So yeah, okay, so there's that. That covers Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn. Let's focus on Jupiter. Jupiter, you can see, is at 10 degrees, and so we still have that opposition with the sun. So I love this. The sun in Scorpio is shining a light on how you can transform yourself and be more present with yourself in life, and then become much more safe. Jupiter's over here with healing energy, saying, what do you believe in? Jupiter's all about our belief system. It expands, it opens up. It's part of the cardinal energy that's expansive, that starts things, that gets things going. And its natural sign is Sag, but being in Taurus, it's about being very grounded. It's healing our ability to feel safe and take care of ourselves. It's healing our ability to be faithful to ourselves and certain principles in life that keep us from getting stuck. If it was Saturn in Taurus, I would say, oh, okay, things are really going to slow down. But no, it's Jupiter in Taurus, and the only aspect going on right now to it is the sun opposing. We've already gone through Mars and Mercury opposing. That's where the intensity, was last week. But this week it's that spotlight of transformative energy that knows enough to not betray yourself anymore, and to know that you can't cheat life, right? You can't cheat life. Just remember that. Life will always mirror back to you what you've done, what you believe, and what you need to heal. So in Jupiter, with Jupiter and Taurus over here, it's all about healing our bodies, letting go of the fear of getting stuck, letting go of the need to overdo our eating, anything that like the pleasures of the body. Yeah, we don't want to overdo. Jupiter and Taurus can definitely overdo that. So I'm sure we're all learning those lessons, right? It's also teaching us that we don't need more toys. We don't need more this or this or this or this in order to be happy. But we do need the simple things in life, right? Like food and taking care of your body and the roof over your head and all those other creature comforts, or survival comforts, actually. But yeah, okay, so the trine to Saturn to the South Node is supportive of that as well. And now I'll go ahead and go to the moon there, because I think I've covered everything else well enough. Actually, yeah, I talked so much last week about Uranus trining Venus, and it's almost out of that. You can see we've got about a 5-degree orb. One more degree and it'll be out of orb. So I'm just going to skip that. Except for to say that Venus at this last decan of, so the rest of this week until it moves into Libra, we're at that. So remember, Venus wants to unify. Venus is about pleasure. Venus has everything to do with attracting a loving experience in life. And then at that last decan of Virgo, 26 degrees, it only has, 26 degrees, 54 minutes. It's just about 27 degrees. It just has 2 more degrees before it moves into Libra. So that last decan has to do with mastering something. And Virgo, we're all about discernment. We're about divine order. We're about creating something that works, very practical for you. It's all about discriminating what doesn't work and what does work, or I should say discerning. It is very discriminating, but it's about discerning. Virgo does help us learn too, just a lot like Gemini does, because of course Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So we could say it's kind of like having Mercury and Venus together, which is cool. But when we're deeply in those late degrees of Virgo, we're definitely creating some ways of very practical opportunities or we're inside of, experiencing very practical opportunities of creating order in our lives. Now, the only way we can mess that up is to allow clutter all around you. But then again, too, if you're overly focused on having everything perfect around you before you can get into your work, then you're going to have trouble there. It's always back to the balance, right? So if we can be okay with a little bit of clutter when at opportune times, like when you have to get something done, it's like, okay, you don't have to have the laundry done. You don't have to do all this other stuff that has nothing to do with the work that you need to do first. And therein lies prioritizing. So with Venus, the planet of prioritization, I don't know if I can even pronounce that word. It's all about prioritizing. And with the trine over to Uranus, there could be some shakeups to that. I mean, trines are usually full of harmony and flow, but not always. So that energy waning away from the trine might actually be good for some of you. And then a lot of us, I think, I had that experience last week too, and even this week, where I figured out some ways to make things go more smoothly, in my work. So, and just stuff around the house too. It's like, oh, wait, this doesn't need to be this way. What the heck have I been doing? you know, and eliminating some things that didn't work well with food for me, or even just the way things are organized around here. So I'm wondering if you guys went through that too. You'd have to let me know. Let's see. So that feels done, and that feels complete there. So now let's finally focus on the moon, and then the rest of the week will go much more quickly every day after. So this moon coming in 5 a.m. is at 14 degrees Leo. So there's fire energy there, but it's fixed fire. So it's, it can be kind of willful. The downside with Leo energy is it can be my way or the highway kind of thing. But not necessarily so bad usually. As long as you're coming from your heart, it's really good. It doesn't have to be challenging. But it is an approaching square to Uranus. So just know that, all day today, we're in this process of needing to be in our hearts, needing to give attention to something that is grabbing, our attention, basically, literally. And you might not want to go there, but if you do, well, you might just be in that tension field of figuring out, do I need to go there, or is it a distraction? Or if this is somebody here, if the moon is someone in your family, or it could be the public, because the moon rules the public as well. It could be too much on the news, and I would say that especially because the moon is also squaring the sun and Mars. So it could be, and shoot, Mercury in Scorpio is gonna keep kicking out, the news cycle like crazy. And when it's in Sag too, Mercury's just always putting something out there. But when it comes to Scorpio and Sag, Scorpio can be intense, and Sag can be, it's something you might want to explore. But we'll get to that when I get to that chart. So just for this morning, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, for the whole day, because it's at 14 degrees, just know that you're in this tension field of possibly needing to let go of distractions, or possibly needing to go to what seemed like a distraction, but it turns out that it's an awareness, because bottom line, Uranus is always about awareness, no matter what. It's the planet that is known to be the great awakener. So it could be that you suddenly have some direct knowing with the Leo moon, some direct knowing in your core. So you get some direct guidance about something new, and you're like, whoa, okay, let's try that. Because Uranus can bring through those aha moments. And in Taurus, it's very in the body. So if you get some chills, or the hair goes up in the back of your neck, maybe it's guidance around, don't go there, that's not safe. Or maybe it's like, oh, I never thought about trying something like that. Let's try that. So yeah. It can be very inspiring with this square here. It's a challenge, it's tension fields and all that with squares, but it can help you build something. And what it can help you build will probably be something, it could be one of those weird things where you're watching the news, or, hold on, I have to get a Kleenex here. You're watching the news, or you're listening to something while you're working, or something comes from the outside and you get this idea, or it could be that you're actually doing something that's deep work. It could actually be like a transformative experience you're having just within yourself, not just within. Those are the best, right? You can't have them anywhere else. So something from within that, and it's something you care about. So you're working deeply with something that you care about. And then suddenly the whole world opens up in a whole new way, and you're seeing something new for the first time. And that's especially possible too because we have with Venus trining Pluto here, and this is an applying, approaching trine, so it's going to get more and more intense, just like more and more powerful, I should say, just like the square to this T-square going on with the moon. I could produce some really valuable insights or deep connections in the heart. And you could finally discover something that you really, really want to do. You really want to apply yourself. And with Venus at this late degree of Virgo, moving up to an exact trine to Pluto, it can really put something in place that that maybe you've been working on for quite some time, but you haven't figured out exactly how to get it done. And I'm thinking that over the next few days, it's about really getting something done, getting something completed. And then that backdrop there too of Neptune with the inconjunct to the South Node. Again, there's these adjustments that might come through because you're getting guidance from the past. There's so many aspects, so much energy around getting guidance from the past. It is just really wonderful. Okay, so let's go to Monday. Monday, the moon is at 26 degrees, and I clocked it at 5 a.m. again. 26 degrees Leo, so it's in that last decan. So there's, again, some mastery that's come through about something that you really care about. Leo is our creative self-expression, has everything to do with our self-confidence and our courage. And it's very possible that if you had the courage to trust yourself, with the guidance that was coming through Sunday, it's very possible that you've got another big opportunity because we've got a sextile to the South Node, which is Libra. So this could be a relationship from the past. It could be guidance from the past because Libra is a bridge. This can be a bridge to guidance there. And then we've got two trines coming over to the North Node and Eris. So again, courage here, relationships and partnerships here. And this aspect of the architect is all hinged on the moon down here with that ability to shine your light, to just be your natural self and put yourself out there. And if it's not you and it happens to be children, that wouldn't surprise me either. It could be a really, really wonderful day to hang out with some kids. Yeah, and it's still square Uranus, but it's moving out. It's about, just a little over 4 degrees. So it's not such a tight orb there. The moon is still in a tight orb between the square to Mercury, though. This is a new square there. So no matter how early you get up on Monday morning, there's a lot of energy to get you going. You could wake up from an incredible dream that brought through some guidance, or you could just wake up knowing something and you don't know where it comes from, but it can get you going because we have, that connection to messages that are deep and can penetrate our consciousness. It's not vague. Leo and Scorpio energy, there's nothing vague about those two signs. So let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. Tuesday, the moon's in Virgo. I, again, clocked it at 5 a.m. We've got a trine to Jupiter, almost exact. So there's some expansion around ways to create abundance or comfort, or it could be an awesome if you go for massages or, any other type of body treatments, or it could just be with a healthcare practitioner, because that would rule, that's Virgo territory there. And of course, the moon in Virgo. So the moon will always help us intuit something. The moon is our planet, or our not a planet, it's a luminary, that helps us to connect. It helps us to digest. It helps us to respond to situations. It helps us with nurturing. It's usually connected to our emotional responses, I guess you could say. Definitely is connected to our eating habits, our daily habits, the things that you do every day, whether or not it's a strict schedule. It's like, you get up, you have things to do, right? At some point you have breakfast, usually, and lunch and dinner, or maybe you just eat one meal a day. Everybody's different. Whatever you do, this would be your daily ritual, I guess you could say. And then the public mood is something that's ruled by the moon as well. And the moon also rules our moms and our homes. So with all that Virgo energy, we're, because Venus is in Virgo too, we're in that that energy again of wanting to create order. It's on an emotional level. It's something that's forming within in a new way, because it's we're still in that first decan, but pretty getting towards the middle of the sign. So today, early in the morning, you're wanting to get some things together, and it's all about how can things. Maybe you have a new belief in how much abundance you can bring in. Maybe you've discovered that it's your attitude about money, and you've figured out that if you just, not just because it's a big thing, to get to that place where you're feeling like, oh, I'm a money magnet. You can say things like that. Or money flows easily to me. You can say things, you can go through affirmations that way. And it could be information about my health flows easily to me. We've got, healing energy here around the body, and all of the information to bring it through. And we're fine-tuning when it comes to moving through the degrees of Virgo. And so we're discerning, and again, we're learning, it's practical, and hopefully it's all about having, a better time being in your body, being a human being in your body. Not easy, often, but then other times it is. And the more we work to make it easier, then we can just let go and be just utterly human, and that I love. Okay, so we also have, with Venus here, sextiling Mercury. That's an opportunity there again, and Venus is at that 29th degree, so things are really coming together. We're really mastering something, and it might have to do with communicating in deeper ways that bring through with people that you love and care about, more intimacy, because Scorpio can be very intimate. And with Venus, you value those people that you trust to share, your secrets with, or your just be yourself with in your own natural ways. And then we also have, of course, like I was saying before, we've had Venus trining Pluto. So again, practical, the nuts and bolts of life, and getting things done. Things are coming together, and the opportunity to communicate with people, like I said before, that you care about and that you trust, and they trust you, you trust them. That's established. Great opportunities are coming through Monday and Tuesday, especially. Yeah. So, okay, what else? I think that's it. That's good for now. Let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday is the day that we have Venus moving into Libra. Now, it comes through at 1:31 a.m., so you're just going to wake up with Venus in Libra and go, oh, you might feel more balanced. You might feel more like socializing. Libra is it wants to relate. It can be very stimulating. So you could have some great conversations first thing this morning. You could even have opportunities to share in new ways. Now, if you live alone and there's no one that you like connect with, like you can live alone and still have different relationships by phone and text and all of that and email. But if you don't, this morning, this could be one of those mornings where you're very self-reflective. Libra can be self-reflective, but it's that deeper connection of knowing that, in the best sense with Libra, is knowing that life is a mirror. Relationships, all of your relationships are mirrors. And so they can help you learn. Relationships can really help us learn about ourselves. And that's a beautiful thing. So with Venus in Libra, that's primarily what's on the table for this entire time. And I didn't pick up a date. I need to figure out, well, we'll see as it goes. I mean, Venus takes about, oh goodness, it takes about 24 days, unless we have a crazy long retrograde, but it's usually about 24 days, but it can go up to, well, I remember that one time, I think we had like a 5-month sojourn. I can't remember what sign, but I was like, whoa. But anyway, it can be 2 months, 24 days up to 2 months in one sign. So I think this is going to be a really nice fall, autumn, and if you live in Australia or you're down under, anywhere, South America, those friends of ours would be having summer, a really beautiful summertime. So that's wonderful. Let's see, what else? There's an inconjunct quincunx to Saturn up here. So this might be a nice adjustment to having spiritually based relationships, or feeling more socially inclined to help out with charitable organizations, because Pisces is all about charitable organizations and anything where you can give your compassion. Now, one thing I could say too, or another thing I should say, with Venus in Libra, with this inconjunct up to Saturn, if you've been in relationship with somebody that just won't get out of their victimhood, and they've been all over the place and they won't take responsibility for what they're creating in their lives, there might be some need for adjustment there. And that, so that may come up. That's a very real possibility with that one. And as you can see, that we still have the trine to Pluto, so it's basically, are things working out in relationship or not? Let's see. And then the moon we have is in the aspect of the architect, up to, let's see, 18 degrees it's exact to Mars. So the moon to Mars is, again, wanting to, with the moon at that second decan, we're wanting to integrate something that can really get us somewhere with Mars and Scorpio. And there's commitment. Scorpio energy is very commitment oriented, because it wants to commit to something that builds something strong and deep. And from there, and it's but then again too, it's always about growth oriented regeneration. That's the thing. But with the moon there in that second decan of Virgo, then here we are integrating the things that we have figured out will get us to those deeper, stable places. But again, there's with Scorpio energy, there can be that need for confrontation in order to stay out of crisis, because Scorpios are pretty fine-tuned. The more developed Scorpios are pretty fine-tuned to having really good radar for crisis. Like they can spot crisis that's possibly coming in, and they can circumvent those situations. So the moon may intuit something like that, and especially in Virgo, can really pick up on what a problem might be. So the moon, with being at that point where there's like this lever open to averting crisis, and then with the trine down to Uranus, this can be very intuitive today. And it might just be, if it's not in your personal life, because I hope it isn't, but it could be that you're watching something on the news, or you're listening to the news, or listening to something else about someone else, and you're picking up on this, oh, I can see where this is going, right? We all know that one. So yeah, and then the other aspects are still the same. Uranus, you can see now that Mars is getting tighter and tighter degree orb there with that opposition. Uranus down here is going to wake a lot of people up as to whether they've been creating crisis in their lives or not. Okay, let's go to Thursday. And so I'm going to go the morning first. Okay, because I wanted to pick up where the moon has crossed over Venus and is now in Libra. So there's a lot of that wanting to connect, wanting to cross that bridge to relationship, and is wanting to be safe. Now, not wanting to be controlled as well. And notice that we have with Uranus, exactly. So Mercury's out of the mix now with that opposition. So it won't be so crazy with the news, I don't think. But, well, I think, again, just like what I was saying about yesterday, we all see where it's going. That's just the bottom line thing. So now things don't shock us so much anymore, right? So the Sun conjunct Mars, it brings in so much energy. My goodness. Now, it's fixed energy, but it's movement oriented to create something deep and lasting and strong. And Uranus over here, it could upset that because new information comes through about how to create that, and how to create more abundance that's lasting, and how to share our resources with those that we trust. And that's very, it's oriented there too with the moon and Venus in Libra. Yeah, and the moon is also trining Pluto. That's beautiful. As far as, it's a good connection it's a good connection for relationships that are very stable. Let's see. Yeah, Chiron is in conjunct the Sun exactly. The Sun's a little bit past it, but just about exact. So that brings through, again, the spotlight. The Sun always brings through, it helps us to focus in on something. It makes us aware of something. It brings it to our attention. And what attention it could be is to a deeper aspect of our wounding that we didn't realize was there, or how we've been wounding others, and we're realizing, oh, shoot, if I believed that about myself, I must have been projecting that out onto others too, right? Because that's how it works. So the more we heal, the more we have to know yourself to heal yourself. So the more you know yourself, and the more you can not beat yourself up or judge yourself harshly just because you're aware of a fault, then that's how you shift the fault and you change it. So the sun, and this would really, speak to anyone with a sun in Scorpio, this could be that you're on, this lifetime is a transformative journey. It can help you so much with your life purpose if you allow yourself to go deep and find those people that you trust, but most of all, trust yourself. So there could be some learning, opening up to really trusting yourself deeply in your body. Your body won't ever lie to you, right? It just won't. It'll always tell you what's going on with your feelings and your belief system, and and even if we can't shift our bodies because we're either too old or we've hurt ourselves, or we came in with maybe we were born with any type of an issue, it doesn't mean that our soul is stuck. I mean, it doesn't mean that our spirit is stuck. It just means that we learn how to work with it. So handicaps can turn into strengths, and I think all of us have known that most handicapped people have these really interesting hidden gifts that when it finally comes through, it's like, whoa. They have some extra special gifts in there. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next chart, which is for Thursday night. Comes in at 10:40 p.m., but Mercury finally makes its way to Sag. Definitely go to bed early tonight, because when Mercury hits Sag, it's fire. Your mind can be on fire. And I don't want you to go through that while you're trying to go to sleep. Mercury's in that beautiful aspect there of being right at the midpoint of these two sextiles. So between Venus, and so it could be about relationship issues. And then, maybe there's even some opportunities for, Sag, let's just get into the sign of Sag, because we're all going to be thinking about it and talking about these things. Let's just go there first. So Sagittarius is all about adventure and freedom and speaking up. In Mercury, there's going to be a lot of talk. Everybody's going to have an opinion. The downside of it is that they're just opinionated, and it's not really coming from truth, and it's basically not very discriminating. And you can see that on news channels, like where people are talking over each other, and you can't hear anything anybody's saying because they're all talking at the same time, and they've all got microphones, and it's just a big, like 2 or 3 minutes of a mess. If they're, yeah, you guys have all heard it. I don't have to name the channels and the people playing. It's very frustrating. I hate it when that happens, when they talk over or they interrupt. Like a person might just be willing to, or just finally getting into something that really matters, and then they interrupt because their opinion really has to get in there first. That's Mercury and Sag. Now, sometimes we have to just cut them a lot of slack because they happen to have somebody on that they're interviewing, and the person has verbal diarrhea. It can be that too. So you might see that. On the highest level, Sag is about our intuition. It is about being on your spiritual path. It's about searching for what matters. It's about getting in touch with beliefs that are healthy. And, it's all about, because it's ruled by Jupiter, it's all about expanding our awareness. So Sag can be great for exploring what means the most, or exploring the meaning of life, or what something means, right? The challenges with Sag can be about you're telling your truth and somebody's not believing you. right? Or somebody's telling you, you don't talk, just stop, or somebody's discounting what you said. That can be painful and very unfair too. And then the worst downside of Sag can be bullshit, patriotic, and religious dogma. So there's that. So that's what we're going to be thinking about and talking about politically. And we're going to, it's, hold on to your hats. Try not to throw anything at the TV. You might find yourself unsubscribing from some channels or, news, whatever, then, yeah, I've done that in the past. Like, I'm not listening to these people anymore. They're disrespectful of each other. I mean, if they can't see, you would think they would watch themselves to see, in a situation like that, to see if they're, how they sound, or the fact that no one can hear them because they're talking over each other. You would think they would make changes, but it doesn't seem to happen with a couple that I'm talking about, thinking about. So, okay, the moon today, and so this is all the energy that's underneath the Mercury moving into Sag. With the moon in Libra, we're wanting fairness. We're wanting to hear both sides to everything. And that's actually healing to do that. And that's so that we have this inconjunct here. So there's an adjustment to, what may be kind of like grating and on the nerves, to like really wanting to hear what both people are saying. So, again, back to what I was saying before about people talking over each other. And laughing with each other is a beautiful Mercury in Sag, because Jupiter and Sag are both related to humor and comedy, things like that. So we might see some wonderful experiences that way. And yeah. And, in online or like live streams, it's so much harder because we're in different locations and sometimes things, the internet blips out or there's buffering. And so you might not hear the last few words that a person says and another one starts talking and then you pick up on theirs, but you missed the last one. And so, if you're on a live and people are watching the chat, you could ask them to repeat if you need. There could be the need for that sometimes. Like, what did she just say? Or what was he saying? Because I got, it got cut off or something. And never be afraid to speak up and say, hey, I need more clarity. That's part of the courage about, and look how close the Sun and Mars are in Scorpio. Now there's that need, that real need, Mars need, motivation, need to go deeper with, with that Scorpionic energy in order to be enlightened with Uranus over here. Uranus is the planet of enlightenment. So it's like, please go deeper, enlighten me. I don't understand fully what you just said. Try it again, right? So there's that courage to do that, hopefully. Yeah, let's see, is there anything else? Oh, well, yeah, the South Node is still in that trine to Saturn, which is still good about, it's good to have that there because there's that flow of energy with relationship-oriented Libra, and then coming into something bigger with Saturn and Pisces. I like that. And the inconjunct to Neptune, again, that's all just, I love that there to have for, the wisdom of the past life information even, and with all of your guides, guardian angels, and all those spiritually sourced beings that can help you. And it's even great, like for mediumship, if you're, if you don't mind talking to someone who's crossed over, or you want to find out what happened, or you want to connect, really want to connect with someone who's crossed over, even if they're not willing, you can still talk to their higher selves, I think. Then again, if they don't want to, I suppose they can throw up shields so that that can't happen. But I don't understand why, if anybody's, a higher self is developed and high, so why would they not want to connect with somebody? Well, I guess if the information would be coming through that could possibly be used in the wrong way, then they could, that would be a really good reason to cut it off, wouldn't it? And that might be what this, see this little semi-square here from Neptune to Jupiter, that happening? Hold on. That might be feeling like there's a real need. In order to heal something, you need to connect with your guides and your guardian angels and the spiritual realms. Let's just say that, okay? There's healing by connecting with the spiritual realms, but that action to sit down and meditate and do some automatic writing or drawing or whatever, however you grab the information, or maybe you just turn on your voice memo on your phone and you talk as the information comes through. However you do it, there's the need to actually do it, because semi-squares are always about actions, the need to act. And you're not just thinking about it, you have to do it. And then there's another semi-square here from Saturn to Chiron. So again, spiritual, having that spiritual foundation is very, very healing of any inner conflict that's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Friday. Friday, 7 a.m., the moon is exactly opposed, well, almost exactly, it'll be exact soon, within a couple hours, opposing Chiron. So again, there's issues around, but good, in a good way, issues so that you can heal relationships. You'll probably have some guidance come through about inner conflicts and deeper issues that you're integrating, because Chiron's in that second decan, so we're in the realm of integration. And what we're integrating has to do, or the moon will illuminate something for us that can help us to be more courageous in relationship, because it's also, getting ready to oppose. We've got the South Node already, of course, opposing Eris and the North Node. So that same territory that we've been in around relationship with ourselves and relationship with others, and how there's that mirror, then with the moon approaching the South Node, over the entire day and even into tomorrow, we're going through understanding on deeper levels, like maybe these are my relationship patterns from past lives, and information could come through intuitively about that, and could be very, very healing. I love it. That's really wonderful, and especially with that inconjunct to the South Node from Neptune that I was speaking about. And Venus is still in that beautiful sextile to Mercury, Mercury sextiling Pluto, Venus trine Pluto, all of that. This is good. This is going to be a healing period for going deeper in relationship, or working on having healthy relationships. So if the relationship you've been in has been healthy, you'll go deeper. And if the relationships that weren't healthy, you'll either want to go deeper and transform them and heal them, or there may be, breaks. But Libra energy isn't about, it's hard for a Libra person to cut off a relationship. That's more Scorpio, But with the Sun and Mars in Scorpio, that could happen. If the values don't match, and if there's betrayal, yeah, right? But then again, most Libras I know, they're always willing to work on it, even if there's betrayal, because they'll figure out what they did in the situation too. They're not necessarily geared towards blame. But, here we have the moon approaching the south node, and when that happens, then there's that trine to Saturn. So, yeah, it all depends on the people and how you use the energy, how they use the energy, whether or not it's victimizing and blaming or healing and forgiveness. Yeah, so... And then Mars really getting tight in that opposition. So always remember that the oppositions are confrontations that can lead to breakthroughs. So the confrontations between, waking up in, the areas of abundance in our bodies and self-preservation and all of that, and what we value most. And then over here we've got the energy of Mars. It's like in Scorpio, Sun and Mars in Scorpio. It's like, well, okay, are we going there or are we just talking about it? So I think we're going there. Okay, let's go to Saturday. Saturday, November 11th, 5 a.m. You can see that the moon has crossed over the south node, so all of that awareness, it has come through, and I would think that things are better in the areas of relationship with yourself and others, and I would think that it's very helpful for moving forward. We still have that sextile. We lost our sextile from Mercury to Pluto, but we still have it between Venus and Mercury here. So Venus is at 3 degrees, Mercury's at 1. It's coming into an exact sextile there. So there's opportunity around relationship. Venus in Libra is just excellent for literally relationships, partnerships, equality, fairness. It's, just think of the bridge. It can help people merge together. And with Mercury and Sag, it could be intuitive, focused relationships. It could be travel companions. It could be, all those things ruled by Sag, people that want to be more free than ever. It could be the type of relationship that's open, or it's new and you're just discovering, you're exploring. Sagittarius explores, and you could be exploring relationships. And if it's not relationships, it could be what you will invest, partnering yourself up with. Yeah. Venus is still trine Pluto, so that's good for something solid. And like I said before, with Neptune, in that, in conjunct to the south node, now the moon has crossed over and we've picked that up in there too. So Friday night could be really good for dreamtime guidance coming through. If you have dreams about old relationships, there might be something healing. Or it could be past life dreams, literally. I had a weird dream last night when I woke up with this, knowing I had been in a circle of people, and we were celebrating Samhain. It's spelled like, it looks like Samhain, but it was like old Celtic days, and we were, we're celebrating Samhain, and it was great. It was a bunch of women who were, well, there were some men too, but mostly women, and everybody had a little story to share, and yeah, they were going around, and I remember waking up struggling to hear what one person said, and I had to say, "Can you speak up? I really want to hear what you're saying." And then I woke myself up. So there was that. So I don't know if that was for me or what that was about, but it definitely was in a past life, a Celtic past life, which I thought was interesting. But that doesn't surprise me. So anyway, it could be something like that. Or not something like that, but I mean something from a past life, coming through dream time. What else with the moon? It's just, it's most of all, first thing in the morning, it's probably going to be more relationship oriented and very movement oriented because, both Aries and Libra are cardinal energy. So it could be one of those days where I hope you do get some good dreamtime guidance, but you very well probably could wake up and hit the ground running. And, it's good to write those dreams down. So hopefully you'll have time to do that, or you'll take the time to do it. I think I covered that. I think I'm done, actually. It's just, all week long we're building up to probably some intense confrontations that will help us wake up. So just, be careful about getting in any type of arguments that could have somebody wanting to get even with you. Watch your words, especially with, all week long, because Mercury being in Scorpio and then Mercury moving into Sag, again, like I was saying before, it's fire energy and you want to be careful. What helps me always is just to slow down and take some deep breaths and just relax. And with Uranus and Taurus, or Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus there, that will help you. Always just get back in your body and try and take a deep breath and relax. Think of grounding and automatically do that. If you're practiced in that, it's easy. The more you're practiced in it, the easier it is to do. But try to stay out of your head, stay in your body if there's a confrontation going on. And if you have to, get out of the room or whatever, whatever it is. So, okay, I think I'm done. I hope I haven't missed anything. I don't think so. But if I have and somebody notices that, feel free to drop it in the comments. Other than that, I just wish you the best week ever, and be back soon. Bye.